Well, the time now coming up to 5:35. You're listening to Drive Time on BBC Sussex. Now, Sussex Police and Crime Commissioner Katy Bourne has announced an extra £100,000 of extra funding to help safeguard the victims of domestic abuse. Operation Ribbon, the force's dedicated domestic abuse patrol cars, will continue with their work until the end of April. And the money will also enable the purchase of 200 specialist smartphones with enhanced technology that will support high-risk victims of domestic abuse. Earlier, I spoke to Katy Bourne, who told me more about what's proposed.
Well, this extra £100,000 will be to go towards Operation Ribbon that the police were running. They launched it back at Christmas time over the festive period, and it was dedicated patrol cars going out to victims of domestic abuse, with the police being much more proactive. And this extra funding enables that to continue now, so there's no break in service until the end of April. It's also going to fund some smartphones as well, which is particularly exciting.
Now, this is an interesting idea. This is particularly vulnerable people will be given one of these phones. How will that work?
Well, without giving too much away, because obviously I want to protect the privacy for victims, anybody that's high risk, identified as a high risk victim of domestic abuse, will be given a smartphone, and it will have enhanced technology on it, and part of that will include a 24-hour helpline direct to police, so that if they feel threatened, intimidated or vulnerable at any time during the day or night, they have an automatic line there straight through to police, which will enable a much quicker response from these dedicated officers as well. So I think the results over Christmas period were really impressive, that I was very keen for this to continue.
Is there any danger in people having this phone that the perpetrator of the violence themselves could find it, which could make them more vulnerable?
Well, I think that the victims that are being given these phones will be, obviously, it will be carefully explained to them, and they will only accept them if they feel completely comfortable with them. I don't want to say too much about the actual phone or make or anything to, give them this anonymity, if you like, because obviously we don't want perpetrators to become aware of this. But I am absolutely convinced this is going to be a real positive for victims. They've done this before, but on a much lesser degree. So to roll out 200 is quite an impressive number.
Do you know what this highlights, though, Katy, doesn't it? What a complex issue this is, because I'm sure many people listening will think, hang on, if people are in a situation where they need these phones, where they've been attacked before, why don't they just leave? And of course, it's such a complicated issue.
Isn't it easy to make those judgments when we're all on the outside looking in? But when you're actually in a situation like this, it's very, very difficult to make those decisions to leave your partner. Often the partner may be the father of your children. It's somebody you trust, somebody you love at the end of the day, and you define your life by them. So it's all very well for us to say, well, just pick up your case and go. But you're actually leaving far more than just one person. You can be leaving a whole lifestyle behind as well. So really difficult situations for victims to be in.
And how have, I know this has been a real priority for you, how have those efforts gone? Are you finding that Sussex Police are engaging more with victims?
Well, Sussex Police, when I came into office, were doing some really good work with domestic abuse victims already, and working with partners. And I've been really able to just help that and use some of the funding that I get for victims' work to really progress this and give a much better care package for victims across the county. So, really delighted that I'm in a position to be able to help that and increase the work that they're doing. But the police, and working with partners as well, the local authorities and that, they do some amazing work. I think victims of domestic abuse are particularly looked after in Sussex.